Hi, this is Kirby Summers. It is Saturday, November 16, 2024. And today we're going to be talking about some information that I just heard that concerns Jay-Z and Beyonce, and which reminded me very much of Gary Webb's investigations. And before I get started, please like the podcast. I am heavily blank on this platform, and liking only takes a second. And what it does is it puts this podcast in view of other people. So, pretty much the floodgates have opened up with the Combs arrest. And I'm going to try to avoid using full names, okay? But I'm sure you guys are up to speed and you will be able to fill in the blanks. I want to remind you that Gary Webb was an investigative journalist. He worked as a journalist at the San Jose Mercury News. He wrote a series called Dark Alliance in 1993. He was born in 1955 and he was ended on December 10th, 2004 with two, let's call it entries into his head, and it was labeled a self-done situation. His three-part article appeared in the Mercury News in 1996, and it examined the origins of the white powder in Los Angeles, claiming that members of the Contra rebels had played a major role in creating this trade using white profits to finance the fight against the government in Nicaragua, which was basically under the direction of the three-letter agency. When the series was published, it provoked outrage, especially in the African American community in Los Angeles. And it led to four major investigations. Even the head of the three-letter agency appeared and, of course, denying. What I want to say here is that Gary Webb got it right partially because this war against the African American community, which, by the way, is not limited to that community, the war is against anyone who is not part of that, let's call it system, class system. So it includes the rest of us. All right. The floodgates pretty much did open up when Combs was arrested because a lot of people are finally being heard, including myself, by the way. I have been trying to speak for decades, and I was always met with resistance. In fact, when I was able to escape after being held hostage at knife point by what was clearly a military trained person who, after I was able to escape on the fifth day, destroyed everything in my apartment and wrote with his blood, because as he was destroying my apartment, he harmed himself, apparently. But my apartment looked worse than uh the Charles Manson alleged followers what they did at Sharon Tate's home and the La Bianca house, because although there were words written on the wall, my apartment was left with a lot of messages on my walls, on my mirrors. Um, it was a disaster. I had literally nothing left. And that is a way of putting fear into a victim so that you don't talk. Um, and that continued, actually, it continues to present day. And so that anybody else, such as the person I want to speak about today, Ronnie Bowe, who shared a cell with R. Kelly and who is making the rounds in a very brave manner on certain podcasts, he said that R. Kelly believes that, I'm going to just spell it, Jay. The last initial is Z, is the person who was responsible for his downfall, and talked about the music industry and how blackmail is used, coercion is used, and the powders, the individual powders and substances are used um, in order to control people in the manner that we have been hearing after Combs was arrested. Um, Let me just say that I want to give you a little bit of information about Ronnie Bowe. He's an author, he's a rapper, he was incarcerated, and he found himself in the same jail as R. Kelly. Uh, R. Kelly made a couple of, they spoke, let's just put it that way. Um, Ronnie Bowe alleges that this Jay with the letter Z with the B singer, who we all know about, is a setup arrangement. And that because she is so beautiful, she was paired up with this person to give him clout, but that it is not a real relationship in the sense of your relationship or my relationship. That this was intentionally an intentional pairing to make him look a certain way, and that allegedly the situation between Combs and this person is similar to what we have been hearing, if you follow my drift. That this Z person, and by now you're following what I'm saying when I say the Z person, has been promoted by these three-letter agencies in order to mislead, specifically because it's geared toward the Black community, although that music is no longer just limited to the Black community. However, that it is promoted to mislead the Black community and the Black culture to increase criminality with young Black men. And that for the people who are brave enough to step forward and speak out, that these people are put to sleep, for a very long time, meaning forever. So, while there have been a lot of speculations and rumors surrounding the music industry, what I want to say is that, I've been deep diving, as you know, into um, the people that I normally speak about, whose names you probably know. And I have been covering in a new series the arrest of Mike Jeffries. who was CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch. And I've been going down that road, which led, of course, into the music industry. However, also into Hollywood, which I've covered from time to time. Um, and I have discovered that some of the Well, it's hard because I am trying to be really careful. But there's plenty of free stuff on my Substack. So if you want to just go and join and read some of the free, because whenever I have a new series, I do put up a preview and it names names that perhaps I can't do at this moment. So feel free to go add yourselves to my Substack. The URL will be below this in the description box. Um, so that the allegations are that the Z person is working in conjunction with the three-letter agency. But so that essentially what it means is that the person is a CONSTRUCT, meaning a creation of, let's call it, the agencies that rule. Okay. And I'm really sorry that I'm being so careful today, but I think that this information should be spread far and wide. And I believe that knowing what we're up against and what we have been facing is intentional and that it's clearly has nefarious purposes. Um, Webb pretty much got it right, meaning Gary Webb in the Dark Alliance series. When cornered, he said that he had not been able to prove his findings, and while initially the newspaper he worked for, the San Jose Mercury News, stood by him, published these articles. Once the story was out, um, and frankly, there's a movie that was made, Kill the Messenger, I believe. But you always have to be careful about the straight narrative. And that being said, I want to add here, interject, and tell you that Tom O'Neill's book, Chaos, about the Charles Manson end of life situations, is being turned into a Netflix documentary. That should raise some red flags for you because um, typically when there is a Netflix series, it is to put a cap on a narrative so that you don't look any further, so that you're like, oh, well, I watched it on Netflix and oh, this is what happened. So it puts a cap on the narrative and it doesn't go beyond. And so I have noticed with the Tom O'Neill book regarding the people who were made to go to sleep forever, that nothing was mentioned about their connection to, let's say, this world that is being exposed now with SATANIC connections. All right. And so let's say, for example, since I'm talking about the O'Neill book temporarily, did he omit that intentionally? Their, let's call it religious beliefs of some of these people that were no longer around after what happened during that time. And of course, we're talking about Roman Polanski's wife at the time, the unborn baby, so on and so forth. So, and again, be very careful when you watch a documentary. If it's made into a documentary on a mainstream platform like Netflix, you have to always look beyond that. And that actually should give you reason to do your own research and to dig further. Um, when going back to Gary Webb, when the three-letter agency became aware of the fact that the Dark Alliance series was being read, uh, they had put it online. It was the beginning of people seeing things on the internet. And so everybody was reading it. It was, free for everybody to see with receipts. They put up receipts and things like that. The New York Times, the Washington Post, all of these other controlled media went against Webb and went against the San Jose Mercury News, and basically said, "Oh, you know that's not true," and they pretty much pushed him out of the journalistic field. He was demoted in the Mercury News. They moved him away into a weird place. It destroyed his family life. It destroyed his marriage, his relationship with his children. He was pretty much left destitute. The He would find odd things, like they would mess with his motorcycle, they messed with his car, until finally, and he wrote a book, which I urge everyone to read, but read it with the knowledge that what he discovered was broader than just what happened in Los Angeles. It was spread throughout the United States. It's just that he was just looking at what was happening in California and Los Angeles. But we can now historically go back and look at what was happening with the increase in the use of all of these quote substances as promoted by Hollywood, as promoted by the music industry, as promoted by some books, because we have authors like Hunter Thompson, right? And a whole slew of artists. And so all of these artistic forms, in one way or another, pushed the same narrative because they too fell under that umbrella. I want you guys to really follow what I'm saying so that I'm going to close this out, but I just want to say that it's time for us to stop absorbing negative energy. So if there's, and it's funny because I'm listening to old songs and I'm watching old films mainly because this is the work I do. I analyze stuff and I connected, let's say, Wex person, Wexner, as being what I call a change agent, selected to continue to, let's say, degrade women via, let's say, Victoria's Secret. So if you degrade women, it continues to damage our lives, right? Our collective lives. And then he had, not to get too much out of the theme, he did have other lines promoted toward little children as young as 5 that promoted promiscuity. Imagine for as young as 5. And I write about that, and I've written about that. Um, I hope that I haven't been too cryptic here because, it's just that anyone who tries to tell you guys and tell the world, as you already know, uh, meets a lot of resistance. I do want you to um, listen to Ronnie Bow. He was on Sean Atwood. He was on his show, I believe, yesterday. I think you should listen to maybe the first hour because it became a 5-hour interview with a lot of other people, but you should at least listen to the first hour and maybe like from minute 10 to minute 50-ish, something like that, because that's where um, you can really hear most of what he has to say. And again, he's telling you his slice of reality. But he has a good grip on his slice of reality, in my opinion, from where I sit with the information that I've gathered in several decades of my life. Um, he is concerned for his safety. He believes that there is, let's call it, he is in danger of being put to sleep, but he is unafraid, as am I. Hence, the reason I continue to do my research, write it up, share it on my platforms, show up here, and talk to you as frequently as I can. All right, I'm interested to hear what you have to say. However, I want to just put out there the fact that I am aware that my stuff is read by the other side. And I am aware that there are some people that are going to put up comments that are deflection and that are misrepresentation, and that I'm not, I have no, I have no problem deleting from my channel these chaos agents. And so if you're one of those, don't even bother with me because I just delete your stupid account from ever seeing my channel again, and or I delete your comment. So I'm only interested in people that are here from their heart. I have a great following of well-intentioned people, and I am just sincerely fed up with the disinfo paid trolls. And so don't bother with me. To those of you who are here with your heart and your minds and you're looking and for the real truth and you're genuine, and most of my followers, frankly, have been with me since I began this journey after the arrest of that person in July of 2019. And so to those of you who have been here in good, you know, in good faith, please like this podcast and feel free to leave me your comments. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. But I need to add this, there have been every now and then there are inappropriate comments asking me out on dates. I'm not here looking for a partner. So refrain from asking me out on a date because from now on I'm going to be blocking those comments as well. Because this is not this what I do is a serious job. It's a serious undertaking, and I want to be treated as a professional. with respect. All right, guys. Sorry that it's been a little bit long-winded, this podcast, but I wish you a great weekend, and I do look forward to what you have to say. Bye.